Hey guys, welcome back to the ManLab. So today we're going to be covering copper peptide, aka copper GHK-CU, looking into all of its benefits, why you might take it, maybe some side effects to be aware of, and the different applications such as topical or injectable. So today we've got Alex and Jeff as usual. The location's unusual. We're at an Airbnb in, where are we again?
West Palm Beach.
West Palm Beach. So let's get straight into it. So
yeah,
guys,
we're in the throne. We're here at the A4M. So we're kind of doing our annual conference
Academy for Anti-Aging
conference. We're learning a little bit more about peptides, availability, seeking out good quality pharmacies, products for all you guys. So
yeah,
keeping our education.
It is a vibe though. I'm not gonna lie.
It is.
This
place is
it's a vibe.
different.
Yeah.
It's definitely
Anyways,
on a different spectrum.
run me through copper GHK-CU.
We
What is it
wish to be
exactly?
called King Alex and King Jeff, by the way.
Today.
King Jeff.
Yes. So today's topic is a really cool peptide. It's called GHK-CU, or commonly referred to as the copper peptide. We really promote this one as more of the beauty peptide. So I really got into this when we really started going down the road of like hair restoration, and trying to figure out ways to improve our hairlines. I know Jeff just recently went down to Panama. He did his transplant. As you guys know, we're really big on, especially with a lot of men, and unfortunately a lot of guys concerned with hair. What can we bring to the table that not only stuff we be willing to do, but like would promote the effects of that.
Well, and let's face it, most guys are at that age are facing some sort of hair loss, and sometimes hormones do accelerate it. And so, we like to have a solution every step of the way.
Yeah, stay tuned. We're going to do a really badass show on all the things that go into like a hair restoration protocol, things that we've done that we subscribe to. But this is one, so here we go. It's called GHK-CU, copper peptide. It's really used in 3 different versions. You can get topical, you can do injectable, and you can do oral. They all work similar, of course. Like most things, I'm always a fan of the injectable. I think if it goes systemic, it's going to improve way more in the body than the specific location the topical goes to, of course. And so like me personally, I do use an injectable version of it. I do use a topical both in my hair, and I also use a face solution on my skin. They do have an oral. I just don't feel the need for it. I feel like it's overkill. Of course, it was free. I would probably take it, but I don't get it for myself for free. So, I just have to pick and choose. And so I think three different versions of copper is probably enough. I'll probably end up like the copper man or something. But
And so what are the benefits? Like we hear about hair, skin, nails. That's the big 3 that everyone looks into. Why copper and not everything else that we sort of hear on the market?
Yeah, so I like most things we've talked about before. The analogy of the use of the kind of cars in the video games when we were kids. Certain cars go faster, and certain cars had better turning radius. Certain cars jumped. For this peptide, it has a lot of benefits. Its really star attribute is really great for skin quality and skin and collagen production. So it stimulates collagen production. It helps out with hair growth because it improves like circulation. It reduces inflammation. It restores actual hair growth, the cells in the hair follicles. It can actually reduce DHT sensitivity, which is the dihydrotestosterone, which is the culprit of male pattern baldness in both men and women, which is hormonal. And so, if you're looking at like options to combat DHT, you have your finasteride, dutesterides, these really strong DHT blockers, but they come with some side effects like, sexual issues. GHK does not. It's not super strong as far as a DHT blocker, so that's not its primary action. But because of it having those collagen and skin restorative properties to it, it affects hair tissue also. So again, star attributes to it, great for skin quality, really good for reducing like fine lines, collagen production, connective tissue, hair growth, definitely.
I kind of look at it as like it's like the aesthetic version of BPC and thymosin beta to an injury.
Fair enough. Yeah. I mean, I
That's
call
a
it
good analogy.
Yeah. I mean, I do call it the third
It's like
healing peptide.
the beauty healing peptide.
It's absolutely the third healing peptide. BPC being like the king.
Yeah.
and TB500 being number 2. I think GHK is number 3 in that list. Yeah. There's also a lot of good antimicrobial properties to it. So they were actually doing a lot of research on using these products in wound applications. So if you had it in a sterile, like obviously this is this is intended for scalp. I wouldn't, if I had an open wound, squirt it in there. Because I don't know how that stuff was made, but if you can get like a sterile version of it, injectable, you could squirt that into a wound and it would actually kill off bacteria agents and then stimulate some healing properties. It has a profound improvement in immune function because iron does play a critical role in your actual immune functionality of your body. And kind of like anecdotally, well, not anecdotally, like a side note is that like as we get older, you know, our iron levels deplete significantly between the ages of 20 and 60. And obviously, if you look at your skin and your hair and like your immune system function and those things tend to fall apart during those years, there's, I think, a 60% reduction between the age of 25 and 60 in the average person of copper present in your system. And so improving those levels inherently, like most things, can bring us back to those youthful benefits of when that thing was provided. And, you know, a lot of our diets aren't really high in copper
That was my next question. Like diets, is it usually something, what food can you get it from?
Yeah, so without jumping kind of too far ahead, like one of the things that you have to be mindful that, yes, there's a small amount of copper in it, but it's a copper ion. It helps express iron better, or copper better. So the GHK, the GHK is a series of amino acids. It's glycine, histidine, and glycine, or lysine, I'm sorry.
Yep.
GHK.
Yeah.
K is lysine? I guess so.
Yeah. Lysine, histidine, and then what did you just say?
They don't like naming the meat.
Glycine, histidine,
and lysine.
So those are the amino acids that make up the GHK component. Then they add the copper ion to it. That's where it cuts the term copper peptide because there is some copper in it. But if you really want to maximize the benefits, like I use a product from Quicksilver, which is a liquid version of copper also, so that can express that copper that's present in my body to do the job it's intended to do. So if you're taking GHK and you're not supplementing with copper, you're not maximizing the end result of what the peptide's there to do. So do make sure if you're going to go down this road or consider using this peptide that you find a source of quality, you know, copper. But copper is generally found, like something that most people don't love to have is in liver. It's high in liver. So I actually eat dehydrated liver about 1 ounce to 2 ounces a day.
Real hard to chew. Sticks in your teeth.
Yeah, it does. I don't know, man. I have like a newfound love for it. To me, it's almost like it's like chocolate. But I mean, people say I'm crazy. Yeah, if it's good. My wife makes a really good dehydrated liver jerky. Put some sea salt on it. And try it.
I gotta have the salt then.
And it's gotta be thin. But if you can't, like I know Jeff, you've been using those dehydrated meats. Ancestral blends. This isn't a cooking show on copper, not copper and liver, but those are places you could get liver.
Cooking USA.
Yeah, right. But get liver, you know, because it's in there. Shellfish, different nuts, seeds, whole grains, and dark chocolate, ironically. So dark chocolate has a high amounts of copper in it. So if you're eating enough of that stuff, then sure, you know, you probably don't need a supplement. But you know, again, I mean, most of us don't eat that much of whole grains, and I don't eat a huge amount of liver. I feel like I probably don't and should get more copper in my system. There is a level of toxicity in copper, but it's like
You'd have to take so much.
Nausea, liver disease, and there's I forgot, there's a Wilson's disease, I think is what's called, where you have way too much. And again, like the average person's not ever going to get that. So
And with the injectable and all that, like how much would you have to take in order to get that sort of negative side effect?
well, again, this is the copper.
more.
This is expressing the copper gene.
Right.
Right. So I'm
okay.
sure there's a toxic level of anything, or there's a wasteful level of anything.
Yeah.
I don't know which I find
I
first.
feel like you would just waste it, spend more money.
So I think therapeutically, from like an injectable amount, it's about 2 milligrams.
Yeah,
per
usually
day is
per shot.
recommended.
It's actually cool. It's got a blue tint to it, and actually the liquid, most copper you get, except
Yeah.
for your oral from Quicksilver, I don't think it has much of a color.
No, that doesn't, because it's
So it has like a nice little blue look.
yeah.
like
That's cool.
the
I feel
silver.
Well,
like
I don't
I'm
know if the
Wolverine taking
copper
that, yeah.
liquid, maybe because it's it's water, right?
Yeah.
So like if you pour enough in water, there's probably a
But
bigger
usually
push.
recommend daily dose when you're doing injectables.
Yeah.
like
So
2
by the way,
milligrams.
don't be surprised as if you do buy this stuff and you mix it and it's bright blue. It's kind of like, I don't know if you watch that show with Homelander, like where they inject that Veep stuff.
All right.
Yeah, and all of a sudden you're
I
like,
mean, listen, you got people drinking
Superhero.
methylene blue now
Right.
anyway, so
Hey,
whatever.
dude,
It's like putting
blue injection.
blue in their water.
everything's blue.
So,
Yeah, so it's blue. kind of makes the experience a little more cool, I guess.
It's like B12 when it's red. I feel like I'm doing something like real cool.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And my daughter
Like
just looks at me
super-
like,
Yeah, and it's
what are
not,
you
and
doing?
there's no dye in this. It's actually just the way that the pigment of light affects copper.
Yeah.
So
And a lot of times you do want to store it away from light. That's good to
Yes.
know. That's why you see they'll come
Dark.
in amber bottles.
yeah, so the topical versions, if you're doing a hair growth protocol, right? Well, let me just rewind on hair a second too. One of the reasons our hair follicles actually turn gray as we get older is a copper deficiency as well.
Oh.
It's genetic, it's aging, it's oxidative stress, it's smoking, it's vitamin deficiencies. But there's also a component of copper deficiency. And if you do take copper and you have not turned gray yet, because if you're all the way gray, you're not
you
gonna-
can't reverse.
I mean,
reverse.
I'm sure if you're super premature gray due to like extreme copper deficiency, obviously I think those hair follicles can to a point regrow. And if we're taking other peptides that are regrowing hair follicles, like I'm 46, I don't have very many gray hairs. I mean,
Yeah, but
I do
I'll
have
tell
a
you, you know
fucking
why
gray
though, and I
beard,
can tell
but-
you 100%. So you just hit one of the biggest reasons why is oxidative stress. So glutathione, for years I was religious with it, and there was a period of time where I didn't take it.
That's what your
and
beard
it went from like salt and pepper to white, like immediate, and it's not reversing. I've been consistent back on it,
Yeah.
so it will like halt the process of the gray, but it's not going to reverse. Like,
Well, you know, they say smoking is
Yeah.
one of the biggest causes, and stress, right, are two causes of going gray. Like that's an old thing. Like I'm so stressed, I'm going gray. Like you'll hear your mom say that shit. Like you made me go gray. You stressed me out. That stress manifests in our body as oxidative stress, right? So if we're using these anti-stressful antioxidants and cleansing products that we really promote and preach, yeah, I mean, I think you can somewhat stop that. But what the component of this from a going gray, you can stop your hair from becoming more gray, and I do believe there's potentially some reversing of it. So not only if you're losing your hair, you know, then you can also restore some pigmentation color. The texture of your hair will improve. So if you have real fine hair, you'll notice that like it'll actually grow thicker. My wife, as a female, you know, she all of a sudden started getting these like crazy like side hair like here, and like the back of her hair back here, because you know it's noticeable on us, but of course she had pretty nice hair to begin with. But started growing in like new texture, like the hair texture was different, the color texture is different, and I think that's more like that younger, healthier, more hair comparably to unfortunately like the older hair that we already have. So yeah, I mean it can regrow new hair. It can like change the texture and the actual color. Definitely skin, huge improvement. Like I stopped doing Botox because I've talked about that in the past. Like it just stopped working for me. Like I just noticed that like I was doing NAD.
quicker.
Dude, it was ridiculous. Like my body was just consuming it. And when I was younger and I wasn't doing all
Because the
these like,
peptides in anything were making
yeah.
it metabolize faster, the
NAD.
Botox.
well, yeah, I mean, from a off-subject topic here, like, you know, Botox is a toxin, and you're paralyzing your muscles by the use of it. So when we're using these peptides and these cellular regenerative things like NAD or growth hormone peptides or, you know, glutathione or other peptides for that matter, you're essentially breaking down, metabolizing that thing you paid a lot of money for, and you're regrowing muscle tissue that like you wanted to intentionally paralyze, because you're not going to like build your biceps and like not build your face muscle. So the Botox would just be like on like 4 weeks, like 4 weeks later I had full movement. I'm like, this is bullshit. I just spent $900. And so I just gave up on it. And I had some really like at the beginning, I remember, because you know, like I have those muscles here, and I would have those, you know, here, and anyway, so I started using a topical injectable, and I noticed that like a lot of that stuff started smoothing
better.
out and going away without
Botox.
the need for it,
Yeah.
right? So it's not stopping me from the movement, but it's stopping me from the
the
collagen
movement that's creating
breakdown.
the crease. Yeah.
Yeah, because why do people use Botox to begin with? It's not to stop the actual movement. It's to stop the skin
Smooth out the fine lines.
right? And because you're losing the collagen behind it, the consistent creasing creates a wrinkle, just a close,
The
right? And you want
crepiness.
to iron it out. The crepey, shitty looking skin. So, you know, under your eyes, you get that fucking kind of shit skin that is as you get older. And I know all of a sudden, like, damn, like my skin feels more youthful and it definitely looks hydrated. Yeah. Thanks, Jeff.
No, it really is. Like, I was like, hey, you know what? I was like, dude, I got to put copper on my face now because like
I got to keep up.
I'm putting it on my head. I'm putting it in my body. Like,
yeah,
I need to put
so
it on
they
my
do
face.
make. And the topicals, you know, are pretty affordable and they're easy to use. And again, the skin one's nice. We get it from a pharmacy.
And find out if you may have low testosterone for free with the Atom test. Now, sometimes it's a little bit nerve-wracking to go into a clinic to get a full blood panel to find out your hormone levels. And sometimes you might just want to sort of kick the tires just a little bit. If you are that person, the Atom test is for you. All it is a couple of questions that are completely non-intrusive, non-invasive, that will help give an indication to you whether you may or may not have low testosterone. And the best part is the Atom test is accurate up to 88% of the time. So for something as simple as a questionnaire, that is a very high number. Now, if you want to make use of that, you can do it online right now. It takes less than 30 seconds to fill out, and it is at bit.ly/free Atom test. That's free ADAM test. Now, if you don't want to remember that, the link is in the description of wherever you're listening or watching this podcast. And then after you've filled out the questionnaire, you will now have a better idea of whether you may or may not have low testosterone and if you need to take the next step, which is a detailed blood panel with a clinic such as T Clinics USA. So again, to make use of that, go to bit.ly/free Atom test and let's continue to making men great again. Let's get back to the show. So what's the topical versus injectable? Why would you take or why would you consider topical as the option for you?
Well, cost first. I mean, it's a lot less expensive. And if your only concern is hair growth, like you're like, fuck it, I got perfect skin. Like you got nice skin. You don't have no skin. We're just making compliments here. We're in this fancy house.
I feel like we're about to get fucking this
something about this house. But like if you're not concerned about your face skin at this point, but you're more concerned about your hair growth, then just put the money into the product and just focus on that area, you know, because there's a lot of stuff to choose from. And if your main issue is like, I'm concerned about hair growth, I could sell you 5 hair growth products. Why are you going to take something that's going to help you with like reduction of inflammation, wound healing, and skin tone when you don't have those issues? So wait till down the road till that problem potentially arises and then you can integrate it. Me, on the other hand, like I'm like, let's go, you know.
Is it localized as well? Like say, for example, I want my face to look younger. I topically put it on my face.
Yeah.
It only affects that area. Scalp, drop on the scalp.
Yeah, so that's called like going systemic. We've talked about with other products. One of the issues with like topical finasteride, which is a oral product, Propecia finasteride, and guys use it we use it in really low dosing for prostate protection, you know, hair growth, and other benefits to reduce DHT is that it can affect sexual desire. It can correct libido or affect libido negatively, cause ED. Anyway, topical finasteride can do the same. They can actually get into the blood and actually go through the system as if you took it orally. And I know a lot of guys that buy topical finasteride and they're like thinking they're like, oh, I'm only affecting my head. I'm like, no, dude, like that shit's going everywhere. You're just happening. It's like the mouth on your head, right? Like it's getting to where, so do testeride, by the way, which is what I would recommend. It way more local for the DHT blocking, but this does not really go systemic. It very much stays local at the tissue that you put it on. I'm not going to say that there's probably not some going into your bloodstream, but it's definitely significantly focused where you're putting it. So if you have like a crown issue here and you put it back here, you're getting 90% of the bang for your buck in this part of your head. So yeah, I mean the injectable though, like again, then the injectable provides energy boost. It improves iron absorption, so it can reduce anemia and red blood cell regulation. It can actually improve white blood cell development from the antimicrobial and immune system function benefit. It has cognitive function and benefits because there is a copper need for cognitive functionality and memory recall and sharpness and just kind of keeping your brain sharp. Obviously, again, the aesthetic component of hair, skin, wound healing. So if you were injured, had like a joint issue, I take oral BPC for gut health. I do believe this complements that. I do think it reduces my inflammation from a workout. So, you know, that injection is a shotgun effect. It affects a little bit of everything. I'm sure, you know, if you take the cost of this product, and let's just use a number of $100, $25 of it is going towards hair restoration. $25 goes towards the anti-inflammatory wound healing. $25 goes, where if you're using the topical and let's say that's $100, well, $100 is going to your hair, right?
Yeah.
So
So one's like a sniper approach, one's a shotgun approach.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. And what was the other question I had? I've written down here. Dosage. Dosage is the big one. So is there a recommended dosage? Is it sort of like per person? How should someone structure? Or at least if they're inquiring in either like T clinics or another clinic,
I mean,
what should
what
they
we
ask?
typically recommend for injectable, usually done on a daily basis, anywhere from 50 to 60, maybe 75 milligrams over the month. We actually use a 60 milligram.
And you do that across daily?
A daily sub-Q injection daily into belly fat, systemic benefit. When you get into the topical, I think this is like a 30-day supply. What did it come out to? 5 milligrams,
It's
I think.
not
more
30
topical.
days. Like it
could be a
it's
little
so
bit
much
longer.
more. Like honestly, I feel like it's a true 2
Well, they
month.
always recommend take way
You
more.
can't. It's like weird. Like it's a true
Yeah.
liquid, like water. So you put it on your scalp, it's like
just goes
dripping down your
everywhere.
face.
Yeah, so
it's
you're probably
like-
getting like 2.5 milligrams per day if you're topically using this. So most of the time it's right around that like 2.5, 3 milligram mark.
Okay. That's pretty. Okay, because I mean, I'm probably leaning towards trying the topical for a little bit. Do some hair. Maybe
Look,
I'll grow a bush at the top.
Yeah, and here's the thing, like about these types of products. Remember, they're supplements to a point, not by definition as far as like medication supplement, but supplements like you're supplementing your body
Yep.
in and during the use that you're providing it. So when you stop using it, your body's going to naturally start to go back through the hair thinning process or
Yeah.
the skin degeneration.
No
issues.
different to like eating healthy.
Well,
and,
they're-
like,
You're not fixing the problem permanently. Like you are.
Well, it's like
You're
if you're,
maintaining.
well, for example, like, so it's very complementary. Like if you're going to use it for hair loss and your follicles are gone, you're probably not going to see shit out of it. Right.
right.
You know, so it's kind of one of those things like you're going to use it in conjunction with some other things to support the function. But the minute you stop using it, you will, just like a certain supplement you're taking to fix a deficiency, things are going to revert.
And I think, one thing that I try to remind a lot of people about, like a lot of stuff that we recommend, unfortunately, there's not always good. There's a bad component of everything I think you recommend, in that it's the analogy of like providing sunscreen to somebody every day and then one day not giving them sunscreen and putting them out in the sun, they get burnt. If you've trained your body to grow hair under this environment of GHK-CU and then all of a sudden you take that away, chances are your body has then built up more of a sensitivity to the DHT that you've blocked and the circulation that you've to a point become dependent on it from, that now without the support of that thing, it's going to come like a train and wreck you. More so because you're not ready for it. It's again, going out in the sun, having never gotten sun on your body, you're going to get fucking fried. The same thing can happen when you expose yourself to a lot of the supplements that we provide, like BPC-157, GHK, other even growth hormone peptides. All of a sudden, what should be like a normal kind of existence of aging, without it, you're kind of a virgin to the exposure of that thing that's hitting and hurting you. So don't look at this as like, well, fuck it, I'll try it. And what's the worst case scenario? Like, yeah, you're not dependent on it to a point, but your body will become adapted to its protection. And it to a point will lower its defenses because you're now supplementing that defense system. So if you abruptly remove that defense system, your body's not prepared for like that thing that was attacking it before.
Yeah.
And so don't go into this thinking, well, let me try it for a month, 2 months, 3 months, or whatever, and think that if I come off, it comes without any risk. The risk is that, yes, you will get improvement while on it, hopefully enough to where you'll warrant the decision to keep on it, which, by the way, there's no negative to long-term use of these products. So this is not going to build up in your system. It's not going to cause toxicity. There's not going to become any type of down regulatory processes because of it being there, meaning like you're not going to become needing a higher dose to continue to get the process. But like I said, if you were thinning enough to begin with to decide that this is something you want to try, and all of a sudden your hair goes back while on it, and then you can't continue to use it or can't afford it or whatever, chances are you're going to lose that hair that you grew during the phase and potentially a little bit more, only because the natural thinning process was happening behind the scenes. You're getting naturally older. all those things are happening that you're kind of not seeing. And then all of a sudden you take this support system away and there's a little bit of a pendulum swinging back further than you, like a pendulum, if we pull it here, it's going to swing back to here, right? So it takes a little time for it to kind of come back to even again.
Well, and sometimes you're still better off than when you started with a lot of the stuff that we recommend. And it just kind of, I'm going to pose you a little bit on it because you're talking about
stuff. Yes.
Right. So I'm going to kind of go with you, but against you a little bit. Yeah, so please. Like on your, like if you're just taking it just to take it, exactly what you're talking about applies. But if you had cosmetic surgery, or if you've had a hair transplant, or if you have an injury, these are like things that are going to amp up that period of time that you do use it, and you're going to see a dramatic benefit from it. And when you come off of it, who cares? You were just trying to get back to status quo. But when you are status quo trying to add it to the mix, be okay knowing that if you stop, you might see things revert back because you're already in a good spot to start with.
And I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
Because like naturally during those times, you're in a vulnerable state that you do need more support than the body typically can produce on its own. Otherwise, your healing process is long. You're more vulnerable to getting sick.
Yep.
You can get potentially higher degrees of scar tissue. We talk about this with plastic surgeons that we're partners with. Are like, look, put people on these products because for the next period of months, you want them resting, eat extra protein, kind of staying out of the sun, not exercising, shit that's out of their normal life anyway. Why not amp up their system to like max capacity? Yeah. And so,
and I wasn't going against you, by the way. No, because I just want to, like the way I heard, because I think the way people were taking it is like, oh, so I could use it and then it might not work after I'm done. It depends on the application. So we use it for multiple things. Obviously, there's certain situations and certain times where these things have dramatic benefits, and there's times to be more prophylactic with it.
Yeah, and let me just, again, say this so it's not misinterpreted. Like if you take testosterone, you're telling your testicles to stop producing testosterone. You become worse off having decided to use it if you ultimately down the road quit, right? Like we've already established that. We've talked about that. This is not, if you choose to use it, like going to accelerate your hair loss above and beyond because you chose to use it versus having never. What it's going to do, unfortunately, is if you stop using it, you're going to resort back to where you were.
Status quo.
Because all this did was supported you artificially during that kind of transitional time. And so, hey, it's like, again, you want to have nice hair, like there's a cost for that. And that's part of the process. But after a transplant, like sure, that's a healing time.
Well, I would say we can't stop the process, but we could definitely slow it down. It's your choice to slow it down.
Yeah, I mean, like if all of a sudden this shit like disappeared off the face of the planet, and I couldn't get it, am I worried that tomorrow I'm gonna wake up, be bald? No. Yeah. Like I probably will begin the process of seeing thinning happening that I'm not currently seeing. And eventually I'll fall back to where I would have been had I never taken it to begin with. And I may even have a little bit of an overshot initially, but then I may kind of resort back to wherever I started based on my aging process that's happening regardless of me having done this.
Quickly, before we get back to the episode, please hit that subscribe button if you haven't on whatever channel you're watching or listening to the ManLab. And if you're listening on Spotify, if you could leave a 5-star review on the channel page, that would be greatly appreciated because that will help continue to push it a little bit further for whoever is looking for information to help improve their health. Now, on the topic of information, if you are on YouTube, you can leave a comment below on this episode and we will respond to it with as much information as possible, or it might be another episode down the road. The reason this is important is because the more questions you guys ask, the more we know what we need to do to serve you guys better in future episodes. So comment on YouTube, leave a 5-star review, hit subscribe, and let's continue to help making men great again. Let's get back to the show. Nuviva Medical Weight Loss has helped over 50,000 men and women in Florida lose over 500,000 pounds in body fat. Now, there are wonder drugs out there like semaglutide and tirzepatide, but it's important that these tools are used properly and safely with the correct guidance, because that guidance is what will help you make sure that you're losing that unwanted body fat while keeping the lean muscle mass. Nuviva Medical Weight Loss has over 10 clinics statewide in Florida with expert coaches who are with you the entire way, helping you with any habit adjustment, large or small. The secret behind Nuviva's continual success with their clients is their in-office expert experience. You will speak directly with a support coach, and if you have any questions, you will get immediate answers. If you are struggling, you will get immediate adjustments or pivots that will keep you on track with your goals. And what's great is you can choose the route of your weight loss goals. So if you just want to take diet adjustments and some supplements, you can do it. However, if you want to go a little bit of a stronger, faster approach and use semaglutide or tirzepatide, the Nuviva expert coaches can also help you along the way with that as well. So if you have a lot of pounds to lose or even just a few pounds and you know that having some support with an expert coach will get you there faster, contact Nuviva at either nuvivaweightloss.com or send them a message on Instagram at Nuviva Weight Loss and mention the ManLab for a little perk. That is Nuviva, Nuviva weightloss.com or at Nuviva Weight Loss on Instagram. So hit up Nuviva, get an expert coach, get that support you want, and let's get you feeling amazing again and lighter again. Let's get back to the show. Last question. You guys mentioned BPC, TB500 being in the same sort of realm as this. Is it common to stack BPC, TB500, and copper together?
It would, I mean, is it common or is it recommended? It's common, no. I mean, because you know, look, like this stuff is not cheap. So, you know, doing all the above for most people is not unreasonable. But again, during a post-heal, you know, like if you're having a plastic surgery, you're having a hair transplant, you had a bad injury, you got a lot of money, one of the, and you're looking to like figure out what can I do to heal and get the best outcome of my time. These three don't have a redundancy of each other.
Just feed her.
Sorry, man.
They don't have a redundancy of each other. They to a point help each other out.
Very
they are 1 + 1 + 1 = 5. They fill in the gap of the other one's weak point, right? So TB500 and BPC 157 work in concert with each other quite well. You know, they affect tissue, they affect anti-inflammatories, they create higher blood flow and angiogenesis. So like they work like they hit on all cylinders in the healing process. So now you throw this, has like antimicrobial properties. It stimulates collagen production and increases, blood volume. I mean, so like you think about the connective tissue improvement, like improves the skin, and meanwhile you're growing nicer hair. But like if you think about all these things that are happening at the same time, yeah, absolutely. Why would you not want that, right?
Well, plus, you know, too many people spend thousands and thousands, just like the whole hair thing, which we definitely need to rip the whole podcast, because that's a very complex process. But getting back to like people spend thousands on cosmetic surgery, and it's like sometimes the faster you get back, the faster you get healed up, the faster you get those scar lines kind of dissipated and better. Like the overall outcome is going to be tenfold. And it's like, why wouldn't you spend that little bit extra to be able to get back that much faster and have an overall better outcome? It was kind of like with the hair, like copper, freaking, you know,
you're going to spend 10
everything.
grand on the procedure, and then you're not going to spend another 1,000 on the healing process of it. You're going to get cheap on the back end. So now the $10,000 thing you did has an 80% effective rate. But if you spend another grand, 10% more, you potentially get a 20% or better outcome. So the return on your investment on spending more money on like the aftercare products, it's like PT, right? Or like I don't know. When I was a kid, I got braces, and of course my mom was like, you're going to wear a fucking retainer. And of course, what I do, I'm like, take this shit out. And my teeth got jacked up after, and now I have veneers because my teeth suck. The aftercare is almost as important as the care, right? I mean, like if you get injured and you wear a cast and then you don't do proper things after the injury is over, or you don't take care of yourself after a surgery, or you don't do the aftercare after a hair transplant, you're going to get not as good a result, you know? And so this should be part of that aftercare. We're working with plastic surgeons. We work with orthopedic surgeons. We are who they send people to when they performed a great surgery on somebody, and now
they want a better outcome.
And now the outcome and their reputation hangs in the balance of that client's willingness to become a good patient. And how many times have you heard a doctor say, or a person say, I'm a shit patient. I went to the gym first. I didn't stay out of the sun. I was out drinking faster than I should have. Because people don't want to they don't want to impact their lives. Well, they don't want the inconvenience, right? When it comes to like a surgery, the faster that you can supply your body with the tools that it takes to heal the body correctly, without scar tissue, without inflammation, with proper nutrient, with proper blood flow, the outcome of that surgery will be significantly better. So the surgeon will look better. He doesn't have to hear you complain. You'll refer more people. Your breast surgery, your facelift, your hair restoration will look awesome. If you got a shit outcome after the fact and you got scars and like you build up some kind of immune response to it, I've seen guys get hair restorations where they get these like knots and cysts and stuff all over their head because they don't take care of it. Half the follicles pop out and don't take, and then they have these spots all over their head. Like, now that surgeon is the bad guy. Well, you did a bad guy. Well, no, you were a bad patient, right? So this is the thing that patient you can do while you're at home to complement the thing that you just took yourself out of work for, that you sacrificed your ability to go to the gym for, that you spent a lot of money for, and for a little of an investment, like, you can see this thing through. So it is great short term, but great about peptides, continue on with them after. Like, you can downgrade your therapy because, of course, like maybe the 3 would be too expensive. Like, if you ask me, like, if I had a surgery, hair restoration, and I didn't have any other problems in my body, I would do BPC 157, TB 500, and GHK-CU, absolutely. I would throw some NAD in there. I'd probably just include glutathione as well, but that's another conversation. Yeah. Once I was healed and I knew my hair was as good as it could be, I would drop out the BPC and TB 500 because it wouldn't have a role there anymore.
But I'll tell you,
and I would still stay on the GHK because then that's promoting other hair benefit growth, and now like my hair looks good, I want my skin to look good, right? So,
but I urge clients too, it's crazy. I mean, how many thousands of clients have we had over the years? And it's like, you get one person that they're like, oh my God, BPC is the best thing since sliced bread. And somebody does TB and it's meh. And you got to remember, they're aminos or chains or sequences that are initiate responses. So it depends on that person's body. So sometimes it's trying one, see what kind of outcome you get from it. If it's not what you're looking for, you could alter the peptide or alter the solution or alter the copper to be able to kind of fill the gap, because it's not. I mean, majority of people, I think a lot of the stuff that we offer work really well, and I'd say the masses get a really good benefit. Right. But I've seen it to where you have to sometimes. Some people do better with a copper shot than they do with the topical copper.
I mean, you wouldn't sell snow tires to a guy who wants to go on a racetrack, right? But you wouldn't sell race tires to the guy who wants to drive in the snow. Like, every person has a need for something different. So there's not like a one fix for every person's scenario. And I think, like, again, if you have a copper deficiency and you're looking to improve your hair and you're looking to improve your skin, for the general masses, this is probably the right choice. But potentially BPC may be a better choice, or maybe just you're vitamin deficient, or maybe you have a huge amount of DHT. So again, when we get to the hair conversation, and we'll talk about, like, in a lot of these blends, you do have to kind of figure out which of this many ingredients can make up that complex recipe for the end outcome you're looking for. I've said it before, you don't make a stew with just one ingredient. You got a lot of ingredients, a lot of spices, a lot of unique things, hair, skin, those are big recipes. You got to cut off DHT. You got to supply blood flow. You got to improve nutrient value. You got to give light therapy. You got to supply some kind of a peptide to stimulate growth. I mean, that list can be multiple products. And sometimes the clients ask me what should I do. I'm like, I don't want to sound like a salesperson here, but like, you're doing one ingredient. You got a one ingredient recipe. You're going to get a one ingredient recipe outcome. It's going to be mediocre. Now, what am I doing?
A paella.
Get out your pad and pencil, because this is a long list.
I'm cooking.
It's like the other day not the other day, a couple weeks ago, I had to go to the hospital and screwed up my leg. They have you fill out the thing like what medications and supplements are you taking? I was like, you know what? I'm not even going to start. Like, I'm not even going down 2 pages. I'm like,
you're going to say,
like, no, I'm still not going to fill it out.
Hey guys, so just quickly, we've noticed a lot of you commenting that you're not sure where you can go to get trusted and safe peptides, semaglutide, tirzepatide, testosterone replacement therapy, or testosterone boosting therapy. And we wanted to just make mention that T Clinics USA is one of those places. Now, Alex and Jeff, who you see in this podcast frequently, they're probably in this podcast right now with me, they are from T Clinics USA. And as they've shown in episode after episode, details is what matters. So just because you may want something or think you need something, they are going to make sure that you are getting the thing that is right for the goal that you have. And what's better is they offer a 10% introduction discount to anyone who is listening to the ManLab. So that is you. So if you wanted to make use of that, get peptides or testosterone from a place that you can trust that have your goals in mind and want to show you the right way to get there, go to tclinicsusa.com, mention the ManLab for 10% off your first package, and you can even ask Alex or Jeff directly any questions you may or may not have, which is kind of cool. So just again, tclinicsusa.com. If you don't want to remember that, the link is in the description of wherever you are listening or watching this podcast. Mention the ManLab in the contact form and you will receive 10% off your first package. Now let's get back to the show.
So the one thing I will say about GHK though, for some people, and I don't know why, it's a very uncomfortable injection.
Yeah.
So for me, not at all. I take that shot, I don't feel it.
Zero.
And then I got clients that call me and are like, "This is excruciating." I know your wife had I have a good friend client who's just dying with it. A few things to try. Like if you've tried this and you're having a hard time with it, there's a handful of things to try. First, change the injection site. So if you've been doing your abdomen, try your butt. If
dilute it.
Before getting to diluted, try intramuscular versus sub-Q. I do know for some injectables, going straight into the muscle, like you could take that little insulin syringe, poke yourself in the shoulder. For some sub-Q shots, that hurts, and for some IM, it does not. It's still getting into the bloodstream. It's still going to do the same job. If those two things don't help you, then dilute it with either more bacteriostatic water, combine it with another shot you're comfortable taking, not testosterone, not an oil, but something like B12, glutathione. You can combine it in the needle. I take NAD plus every single day, and I take my GHK-CU copper every single day. I have in the past backfilled, one with the other, meaning I don't like to stick the one needle into each bottle. I think there's this suction thing that happens, a little vacuum that happens at the bottle and pulls a little bit of each product into the next product's bottle. So what I do is I fill them, and then the plunger part that comes out the back, this part, you can actually kind of get it to the top and then just remove it.
Don't waste my shot.
And then you can shoot the other product into that, and it mixes it. So that way you're only taking one injection. But then what you gotta do, if you can see this, you have to kind of work with getting the air bubbles back out so they don't come out the top. So it's a little bit of a kind of a tricky, more of an expert's process versus a novice. But that's a way to do it if you're really having a hard time with the shots. And if you get to a point, of course, where you can't take it, then the oral pill may be a good substitution if you want the systemic improvement. And again, that I've not had a person who has had an issue with orals. And then of course, then you have the topical option. So.
Perfect. Cool. Thanks, guys. Anything else?
Yeah, so you want to look pretty, stay young.
Honestly, it is the pretty. I mean, I think between watching you stop taking other cosmetic things and watch your skin, I'm just like, all right, shit, I guess.
Yeah, and it's funny because I you see yourself, and we're super critical of ourselves all the time. I see it in my wife. She too stopped using Botox. She started using this, and at our age, we're both same age as I am. It's generally you'd start seeing people's skin get worse. Generally, you'd start to see those problems that people complain about. And people ask her all the time, what do you do for fillers? What do you do for cosmetic? Where do you go get your facials or your peels and your lasers? And she's like, I don't do any of that shit. I just use this. And to hear that, you something's happening, right? So if you're looking for that solution, look, I'm not saying cosmetic is not a good option. I'm not saying any plastic surgeons or your estheticians do bad stuff. What they do from the outside in is awesome. This is the one thing you can do from the inside out that can help. And so, it's like people who take really bad care of themselves internally, smoke, vape, drink, drugs, don't sleep, whatever. It comes out in you. You see it. Your skin looks like shit. Yeah. You get sunspots and aging spots and sunken eyes, and your skin gets creepy. And you see these people that you're like, wait, how old are you? You're 10 years younger than me? Jesus, rough life. You got to improve yourself from the inside so it comes out. Just as bad as those people have fucked up their insides and it's coming out. If you improve your insides and it comes out, it can be beautiful and it can look great, and you can get a lot of compliments, and then you don't spend as much money on the other shit that you're doing just to kind of put a mask over it. So, it's a great product.
And I would just add to that, I think one of the best, if you are truly looking to like beauty, complementary to copper peptide would be glutathione and NAD all day long. It's because you're supporting the cells, you're supporting the collagen, the healing, the recovery.
They use glutathione. They use glutathione in Korea as a skin lightening agent for people who don't want that darker skin tone, which of course we want it, and in Asia they don't want it. But it helps to wash some pigmentation, which is oxidative stress found in the skin. Ironically, GHK will actually accelerate your melanin production, so it does make you more get more tan, not like melanotan,
Yeah,
which
right.
expresses melanin. This actually just increases the melanin present. That's why the hair follicles can stay darker and the skin will get more tan. So you will notice if you're using this, your tanning picks up. And I also say one more thing. If you use red light therapy, it also stimulates a lot of those same benefits like collagen production, and red light kind of helps out with like skin tone. But there's supposed to be like a 1 + 1 = 3 ratio with that too. So
Nice.
they complement each other.
I'm gonna have to try it then.
Yeah.
All right, perfect. Thanks, guys. Now, if you haven't already subscribed, hit the subscribe button. Go to tclinicsusa.com, mention the ManLab for 10% off your first package, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, King Alex.